So the House of Representative member from Akwa Ibom State, Mr. Clement Jimbo, has said that henceforth, he would no longer give out money to his constituents for financial obligations such as burials, birthday parties or weddings, etc. Mr. Jimbo, representing Abak Etim Ekwo and the Ika Federal Constituency, announced this in his post on Facebook. And he says all financial solicitation for burial is hereby suspended till further notice. Please bear with me. Now, we've had this conversation a few times where lawmakers have continually said that many people within their constituents always come to them for one thing or the other. Either their parents have died, they need burial, money for burial ceremony, or their children are getting married, or they're having their 80th, the landmark birthday, you know, you must be there, you do Ashwebi, the whole works. And lawmakers feel that sense of obligation. But this man from Akwa Ibom State is saying, please, I'm not doing it again. We'll now have that conversation with what happened with the former chairman of EFCC, Abdurrashid Bauer, when he came home and everybody in his community was celebrating him. He was so excited. And we sort of saw the benefits somewhat of those of you that give back to your community. Maybe they don't care how you got the money. As long as you are paying school fees here, you are giving money here, they will say you will receive the celebration. Either you break law or not break law, you are criminal or not criminal. Once you come home and you meet your constituents, they will receive you in open arms. So when politicians or appointees are faced with these kind of situations, what's the best approach? Do you completely focus on the work you've been appointed to do, or find a way to meet the financial obligations of your constituents so that when anything happens to you, God forbid you go and get in trouble with the law, still receive it of us? What are your thoughts? I mean, this is just a conversation. You can call us on 081-7641-6798-090-241-63440. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweet. And on YouTube, we'll be willing to read from you. Talk about you want to start. What are your thoughts on this man from Akwa Ibom saying that he doesn't want to pay burial ceremony anymore?
Okay, I don't know why he's picking out burial ceremony, because this week is me. I'm doing burial ceremony this week.
Did you ask him for money?
I did not ask for money,
but other politicians
I would appreciate if people are supporting, and we are grateful for the support we've gotten. I think that as a society, we're a society that we're very communal. We help one another when there is need, and we look up to people that we feel are better off than us to see if they can support us in our times of need. So I don't see anything wrong with somebody. No, I don't believe in asking. I believe that generally, if you have a community, the community should naturally rally around you to support you at the time when you have a need. Most of other occasions are usually planned. Burials are never really planned. You don't plan for when somebody will die. And so I can understand why the need for funding burial can come up. However, when we rely on politicians, we're putting undue pressure on them that will distract them from their primary assignment. And in most cases, the primary assignment now becomes, how do I keep my constituents happy so I can get re-elected, as opposed to delivering dividends of democracy and speaking up for my constituents. This distraction, they don't need. This distraction is one of the reasons why we cannot complain. And it also portrays the kind of constituents that we have. Constituents that feel like I'm going to judge my lawmaker based on how generous he has been to us as a community, as opposed to how well he has defended us as a community, how well he has represented us. It is the money that he contributes to the community that is used to gauge if he was effective or not. And if we continue with that system, it will not work. So I'm all for this guy shouting out on national television, on print media, so you will all know, get the memo. I will work for you. I will not contribute financially to you, sorting out your basic needs. I think that it's a good thing. Let's see more people do that, and then we start changing the narrative of it is only by contributing money that constituents will vote for you next time.
Well, but we have a constituency full of people, like everybody would have, the father or mother would die at some point. So there's a lot of burials you have to attend. So, and these are people that are going to go and gather votes for you. These are people that are going to do the work. So you feel some kind of obligation, don't you think? Like,
don't think I think we should also find a way to help these politicians. Sometimes they know the right things to do. They know that if we use this money and settle you for your personal issues, we will not have enough money to do the job that is we're meant to do. with the resources, but because they want to be voted again, they want to be kept in power. They say power, once you have a taste of power, it's very difficult to relinquish. They want to continue being there, so they give in to the detriment of the society and the community that they are serving. So I don't know if there's any way they can put it in the Constitution, somehow, just to help them, that it is against the law to give for personal, whether it's aggrandizement or personal support, and all, is against the law. If each community or each representative, they should have, because I know that they give them some allowances to run their office, they should have, from that allowances, they should have something like a welfare purse and have a body that would handle it. So if you have any need that is a need, burial is not a need. You can actually dig the ground, put the person inside, say prayers. No, hold on, no. Say prayers and go home. It is not a need, no. Nobody will crucify.
That is not a befitting burial.
If you want it befitting, use your personal funds to befit it. Nobody stopped you. But if you cannot befit it by yourself, please, do what you can. We need to start teaching people how to live within, how to live within our means and what we can afford. Do what you can afford. If you know that it's only to buy coffee you can, and they will drink mineral that day, please provide the minerals for them to drink, and everybody goes home. The bottom line is, somebody has passed. Whatever you do for that person, if you did not do it when the person was living, is a waste of money.
That's your opinion.
So, that's my personal opinion. So that welfare community or welfare system that they will set up would now help to meet the personal needs that are truly needs, because there are people who may want to do like a surgery for something, and their maybe the medical care does not cover it, and then they need support from government. They would handle it. But all this, my son is getting married, this one is graduating from school, we need your support. They should allow these politicians to do the work they are sent there to do. So they should put it in the Constitution to help them. Help the politicians and help the people. If you are caught, two of you will go to jail, so don't give.
Let me come to Miriam. Your thoughts on this? Well, before you speak, remember that we're Nigerians, we're Africans, we're communal, we support each other. So maybe you want to put that in context.
Why are you trying to
influence
my opinion before I speak? Anyway, I was just going to say that when they say that people deserve the government that they get, this is what we mean. And for politicians, you can see it's a dilemma. Because knowing that if I insist on doing it by the books, as politics works, there will be a day where I have to go back to the constituency and they will do by this. So you refuse to pay our school fees, you refuse to do our burial, you refuse to do this. And the constituents look at it as ingratitude for having put you in office. So I think it's a constant balancing act for politicians to see how they do it, at least for those who with some sort of integrity, to do it in a way that it doesn't affect the development of that community so much, you know. And that's why you see a lot of our politicians are so keen on what we call the stomach infrastructure, because we want what we want it now. And then those elephant projects we used to hear about, you know, which I feel like is not so much in current administration, but where they'll build these big edifices that we're not going to use, that are just standing like an eyesore in the community. Because tomorrow, when you say you did not do something, you can point, look at that big building. This is what I did. So in the end, it comes back to us. What do we want for ourselves? The politician will only give you what you want, what you think is important. And what he has said, I've heard other politicians say that, but in the end, they would still go back to doing it the way that they've always done it, because they will have people who will advise them. In fact, some of them will threaten you, some constituents will threaten you. You'll come back in 4 years, you'll come and meet us. So you know that this is going to happen. So really, what he said is the right thing. And I wish that other politicians would, you know, sort of adopt that, so that constituents will just know for certain that there's no one else doing it anyway, so you're not going to call anyone out. And then concentrate truly on doing the work that you're meant to do. They do constituency projects, which I feel personally that, you know, they shouldn't be involved in. Executives should just do that, you know. But they do that because that's another way of making sure that their constituents would support them when the time comes. But if Nigerians keep insisting that we want these small payments, we will always have this situation. Then finally, for some politicians, it's not that they are so willing to do the big things. It's that you also know that you just want to put money aside. So it's easier to say, well, the money that was supposed to be used for my community, I use it to pay fees. Because you know in doing that, you have carried some. Right. It's easier to hide some for yourself in that sort of scenario. Okay, but if you're doing constituency projects where you have to account for every single naira that was, that was spent, you may not do it. Then finally, we have had governors who have told us that security votes were used for burials, and we have called them out, we insulted them, how dare you? But at the time, some people were collecting it, they were praising them. Yeah. So really, in the end, we deserve the kind of government that we get.
Let me take Sunday's calling from Ogiju. Oh, sorry, Luxa.
Please, to achieve what Mariam said, for there to be this unanimous front by the legislature to say that we cannot sustain this if we want democracy to work, then we would have to resort to the BC solution, which is make it a constitutional thing that if you are seen giving or taking, you will be, maybe you'll be penalized. You probably would have to lose your seat.
Isn't it a better option where understanding who we are? First of all, I like it when we start from the answer to the question. Mm-hmm. We are communal. We like to support each other when these things happen. I know friends who say, I don't know Ashebi. Fast forward, their mother dies 10 years' time, they're not calling Ashebi. Wondering, I thought you didn't like the culture. That is who we are, because we can't, we beautify, we see the beauty. That's the truth, because that's who we are. We first of all I'm a foreigner, I'm educated, I don't do this kind of stuff. When your own father now dies 20 years and we see you calling and wondering, I thought I didn't do Ashebi. So I'm saying that if we do it such that there is a budget, I think that what our legislators like is transparency.
Yeah.
How much is coming to your purse? How much is salary? How much is for constituency projects? How much would you budget for welfare? So everybody knows that every month, I have 20 million for welfare. You have to apply ahead. No, yes, you don't know that your dad is going to die, by God's grace. But if your father unfortunately dies at the time where I'm exhausted, I don't know, I'm just saying, like, maybe we should make it more transparent.
It's a case of misplaced priority. We are, in this Nigeria that we have people funding wedding. A governor created a ministry to organize mass wedding, to organize mass matchmaking.
Yes.
Because that's the problem he's willing to solve for people. We are not going back to find out, why is there a need for a mass wedding? Why is it that the men are not able to fund wedding or be able to propose to the women? There's something wrong with the
you're missing it.
It is this same Nigeria. We don't get dollar, We are paying for pilgrimage. Pilgrimage, according to the Islam that Nima has broken down for me several times, it is what you can afford. Yeah. It is this same country that you will be using government funds to buy ram for Muslims to kill. And yet we know that in the Islam killing of ram, it is what you can afford. Christians too now started going on pilgrimage. If you calculate the money we spend on all this pilgrimage and all these things, misplaced priority. Somebody now created Ministry for Happiness and appointed a commissioner for happiness. So you see that we don't know what we're doing as a country.
Happiness is an important ministry.
We need to be happy, my sister.
Let me
important ministry.
Wait, I'm happy that we're going
to... It's not a Nigerian thing.
We lost the call. It's because of you are talking long term. Let's go on a break. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation.
And for ministry...
Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. All right, so we're still discussing the demands from just Nigerians, from their leaders, and many of them having financial obligations, feeling a sense of financial obligation towards their members of the constituents. And we're talking about different angles. I think Akwa was saying earlier the fact that, was saying that maybe we should make it where there's a law that makes it transparent. And that was the view I was coming in, where it is clear. There's some companies that say, this is our budget for CSR. This is our budget for this. This is how much we have to spend. Where once people have that information, it's easy for them to say, okay, I need money for this. And once that money is exhausted for the month or for the quarter, we know we'll wait till next budget. So if our leaders are more transparent, because when people know this is how much he has, I can't keep going to him for financial obligations. What do you think?
Yeah, so you touched on culture and the way we do things, right?
Let's respect our culture. I
also know that culture evolves. And as you're growing, as the society is evolving, you start to chip off those cultures that do not serve you. You cannot
At whose pace?
No, hold on now. At your
Is
pace.
it the Lagos
At your
pace
own-
or the
No, your own
Abuja pace
depending
or
on
the
your state.
Taraba pace?
No, depending on the pace of the state.
So the person that is asking for wedding for his constituents,
wait
the
now.
pace they are in is where
Wait.
his constituent needs to get married.
Yeah,
That's
but
the pace where he is.
when you are at whatever pace, once you start chipping off, it will pain some people. Do you not say till everybody agrees before you chip off? Of course not.
Okay.
You will start. Some people will feel the pain. Some people will carry it. Some people will be upset, but they'll be all right last at the end of the day, right? Now, the government does not have to satisfy your wants and your desires. The job of the government is to give you your basic amenities, to make it conducive for you to be able to do your business. If we have that understanding as a state, then we also have an understanding that for instance, some people will say, we here, for instance, people ask for things, right? And sometimes you give, sometimes you don't give, that's fine. But when you're getting into government office, you have chosen to come and serve, there should be a code of conduct that prohibits you from just giving out anyhow. Because whether it's your personal funds or not, we do not know, we do not care. It's coming from government. It will be seen as it's coming from government. So we must institute that code of conduct that because this person is holding this political position, he cannot be seen to be doling out money to help you do certain things.
Okay.
And some persons, okay, go ahead.
Let me take this call. Kubra has been holding for it. Kubra is from Just. Thanks for calling. I think it's our phone line.
Yeah,
So sorry about that.
Then
Come back to you.
also, some people also would say things like there are people that are really, really poor that they cannot even afford to buy the coffin. That's what the welfare department will now vet. You come with this request that a parent has died and we don't have money to even buy the coffin. They will investigate, and once it's true, that can be sorted. Not that you have money to do it to a certain level, but you want to do that very big one that you will share Ashwebi of 70,000 and you want government support. We must begin to chip off the things that have not served us. The politicians spending money to satisfy different individuals because they want to come back into power,
for example,
has not served us because the roads they're supposed to do.
Your
they
father,
don't do.
for example,
the primary health care.
calm down. Your own father is a very notable person
Yes,
in your community.
Yeah.
God forbid he logs out.
Yeah.
You want something at the right time, plenty years to come. You want something, and even because he has impacted the community. He's not a governor, he's not a politician, but because he has impacted his community, you want something somewhat befitting.
Should I go and steal for it?
Not stealing. You what you do within your own means.
That's all.
But members of the community will also feel like, okay, because he has impacted our community, let's do something to support this family.
I will not beg them and get upset when they do not give. That's the difference.
So
if you decide to throw your support as a member of the society, that's fine.
a governor,
Okay, so I'm in the office because I want to see a governor to
different.
support.
So, Mariah,
That's it now.
we're
That's
here.
what this one is
We're
saying.
constantly talking about all the things that we cannot do. We're talking about the fact that there's no enough primary healthcare centers. Our schools, we're seeing our children lying down on floors in schools, in communities. And then we're pushing this, pay for my burial, pay for my wedding, pay for graduation. It does not make sense. That's the truth. We've always been a people, I don't even know where this need to do a big celebratory thing is coming from. You've always, even poor people do things in a way that within their means, and they're happy and they celebrate it without having to beg someone or incur debt. And that's what we should teach our people. See, the thing is, this thing that we're talking about is not that this is a right for everybody that even lives in the community. It's for those that even have access to these people. So there are still some people who will be feeling aggrieved. It's because I don't know somebody.
Yes, so.
Yeah.
You know, and because it's not fair and it does not cut across everyone in the community, then honestly, it doesn't really serve anyone. Because am I politically affiliated? Do I know a family member that knows the politician that's representing me? That is the only way I can have access to that. But for someone who has greatly influenced a community, and that representative is from that community and knows, he may be able to make a contribution, you know, from the goodness of his heart, from his own personal whatever, but it's not supposed to be an expectation. It's not supposed to be a right. You are not entitled to it. And really, I think we should try as a country to push this new narrative of let's cut our coats according to our size so that we can use money that is meant for more important things that we can all enjoy from, which is health, education. You know, those are the things that we want everybody to enjoy from.
Let me take Mukhtar. Has been holding for a minute. Good morning, Mukhtar. You there?
Yes,
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, thank you for the good work you are doing.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, this is my first time of calling.
Welcome to the show, Mukhtar.
Yeah, thank you very much. You see, my contribution to this program you are discussing now is that, you see, the government is supposed to provide good governance to the people. And the representatives of the people are those in the Reps and in the Senate. Now, if the government is providing a conducive environment for everybody to do his business or her business according to the law and then succeed, nobody will turn to be a beggar. See, the policies of the government are not favorable to the poor people, to the electorate. The policies of the government are so bad that people become poor and needy. And there is nothing they could do but to launch to the representatives.
Mukhtar, it's so difficult to hear you. I hope our viewers can hear you. I cannot hear you at all. I do apologize. It's kind of low. But you see, let me come to you in a second, but I want us to put this in proper perspective, because when we think of big weddings, 70K, I should be that, let us bring it smaller. People need help, medical bills. They'll come to the commissioner or the constituency, please, my father has kidney, we need a transplant, we need cancer. You know, these, aside from weddings and parties and burial, because burial is a major thing for us here in Africa. But the point I'm trying to make is that there are some communities that don't see things the way we see it. So the person who is having Minister of Environment, Minister of Marriage, the Ministry of Happiness, and that one who is conducting wedding.
Mass wedding.
You see in your community the need. The woman is, all this English are speaking of women empowerment, and let them teach them how to do this. They're not interested. They just want to get married. There's some communities where their entire objective in life, where they are, is I want to get married to be, that is it. And you as the head of constituents or the House of Reps in charge, you want to help them fulfill that need, because when you do that, you have met their desire. But somebody who's looking at you from a different state is thinking, how can you just be doing mass wedding? Because you don't understand that community more than he does. So I don't want us to look at it through this lens of, oh, these politicians are just giving out money. Some communities, that just giving them that welfare access is all they need. Pay my children's school fees, pay our medical bills, even though it is your job to fix the hospitals for them. But their own, for what you have done for them, what's going to get you their vote, is the fact that you paid their child's school fees.
Okay,
in their own thinking. Now, how do we need to change that? How do we flip that as a people?
Yeah.
Or should we even flip it?
So we understand what you just said there. That's what I've done for the past 23 years of 22 to 23 years of democracy. We have done stomach infrastructure. We have met the people at the level where they are, giving them what they need, and it hasn't brought us the development we need. We are solving the problem for the few people who are close to the politicians and those who seem to be within the political structure. But we're not solving for the majority. It's just for the minority. So everybody is now struggling to get close to the governor. That's why we have Messiah complex. Once somebody aspires, everybody will sit down there and they are waiting for the hand-me-down that comes in. That can't solve our long-term problem. It's a chicken and egg thing.
Yeah.
Do you want the chicken before you have the egg, or do you want the egg before you have the chicken? It requires, whichever decision they make, it will be tough for everybody to handle at the beginning. But the real thing is thinking long-term. We must stop this idea of taking care of the basic needs while not thinking of the long-term needs. We must start planting the trees than eating up all the fruits. And it will be a bit difficult for us.
Yeah.
So we want to pay the bills for a few people that are going to do kidney transplants. Why don't we ensure that people will not have to be looking for money to do kidney transplants? Why don't we ensure that health insurance is available for all? You know, so those things, it will be like I'm making a huge sacrifice now, but your children will get the benefit of it, because right now, we're all going to private schools because they know.
You know that, but our constituents doesn't know that.
No, but when they know, when people realize that, you know, for now, everybody feels that it is by taking care of people's needs that I get voted into power. By the time we all, like the suggestion, it makes it constitutional. We are not, you cannot afford to continue this system. We can't. It will not work. So if we make it illegal to give those funds, then we can now start redirecting. When you Google what the legislature are meant to do itself, how many of the legislators have time to do what they are really meant to do, what their real responsibility is? They can't do it.
Yes,
they are busy looking for how to get money so that they can remain in power.
The thing is that you think, oh,
Mara,
these are much...
I need to take this call. Omokwe, I'll come to you. Omokwe, are you there? Go ahead, please. You're live. Omokwe, think there's something wrong with our phone lines.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mary.
Yes. So I was going to say, you know, the danger of this is that you now create a culture. But first of all, you're looking at how much is it I'm paying them at the grassroots self to do the burial, if I put it all together, it does not mean it's not that much of a big deal. I'll put it there. But you've created a culture where people expect that this is what they'll get. So when they go higher, they'll ask for bigger things. That is why someone, when he hears that his family member is now a senator, will try and go there and try and find out how he can get jobs, even if he's not qualified for, because he feels that somehow he's put you there and somehow you owe him and somehow he's entitled. So they're going to even do bigger payouts at higher levels. So that's the thing, is the culture, is the mindset we need to change. No matter how little, it will lead to something much bigger. And if we do not understand that, what is most important is to put in place infrastructure that everyone can have access to and everyone can enjoy, then we'll constantly be struggling with, he's not doing a lot for us. What is it that he has even brought? The government says they are doing this. No, we don't appreciate we don't see this big projects as this big infrastructure or facilities as something that we own, that's done for us, that is done for our development, until someone hands us, hands us something. What do you call it? Gives you a handout, and you expect a bigger handout when you get up there. So we need to just change this culture, this mindset completely.
Let me take Sandra from Abuja.
Hello, good morning.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Okay, my contribution to the topic. Before government is demanded to contribute to burial, let's assume they are not meeting the obligation. How do our old parents, how do they bury? Let's be frank. If you are popular in your community, in my own environment, the whole community or relations, we bring yam, bring apple, bring gari, bring oil. But the government, have they done the really thing they're supposed to do to me and you as a citizen? Their major work. Then you now leave your responsibility with somebody that. Then they will not do anything. You know how people die in Nigeria in the family. So it means they will just keep on burying people. I don't think it's the best. That shouldn't even be a topic. But it's good that you're exposing the topic. It's very good. You've always been a good one.
Thank you very much. You see, we all celebrated how we saw how Bawa was celebrated when he came back home. And we're assuming the reason why he got that, because he's a young guy. How many years did he do EFCC chairmanship? It was not 3 years. This man was celebrated. Now, we're assuming it's probably because they are proud that he's one of their own. Maybe he probably gave back to his community. Maybe he paid a lot of school fees. Maybe he sent many people to school, paid for burials, did for wedding parties. He was probably there for them. So when he got back, they were really happy to receive him. Now, that is the politician's dream, for you to be welcoming back in your home. So how, therefore, do we find a middle ground where you are still there for your people, yet you are still there for they're still there to do your job. You still do your job properly. The primary duty you're supposed to do, you do it, yet people can still pin one or two things that, yes, he did this for us personally.
You are there for the majority and not for a few people. What we see is being there for a few people who have access, who have established that before.
Okay.
And it's not working for our society. It's not working for the community. Because the funds that are supposed to be used for the majority of the people is now used for just a few people who have access. And we're saying this can no longer work. You're not there to give personal help at some level. You are there for a holistic development. And that's where the focus should be on. Fine, if you say, my people have a need, like this, there's nothing wrong with this mass marriage that is happening in that particular state. It's meeting a need. Right now, the government is not spending money to 50 billion here, 50 billion here for different weddings. They are doing it together. Probably they are sewing one ashwebi for everybody. It's cost effective. So they're saving money and also helping people to get in. So those are ways to solve the issues. We have people who are hungry in different places. Get a soup shelter for them, food shelter. When you're hungry, you go queue, you get your food, and you go. There are people who are homeless, you get a shelter for them where they go register, and they sleep, and they go. We are finding ways to solve the problem at a larger scope, not just for you to give a few people who have access to you. Right. That's what we're saying. Okay. And it should be against the law to do so. If you're going to be in office, you must be willing to sacrifice that praise you are looking for when you get back home at the end of the day. Okay. We're not sent there to collect praise, we're sent there to work. So work and let your work speak for you.
Let me go on a quick break. When we come back, we continue and take a few more phone calls. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.